Computer Geek here, and this is a video on RCG racing. This is our channel dedicated to mud mowers and trucks and fixing cars and everything else. So, I'm a very big believer in put your money where your mouth is, and for years I have told everybody that when you manage to mangle a front end as bad as we have this one, and it's a rare front end or it's hard to find or something like that, all you got to do is just plastic weld it back together. Yes, it won't be as pretty, but at least it'll go back on. Now, we ended up denting the hood really bad. Oh, for those of you who are just tuning in, you probably don't know. Let me show you a clip. Alright, so now that we understand why we have a mangled hood, let's see what we can do. Now there's a couple of urban legends that I'd like to try here, along with some stuff that I know does work. First of all, I'd like to show you the tip that I've made over the years. I've made a couple of these. It's just a piece of 3/4 inch square stock with a little bit of a bend and a little tip piece cut into it. And then just a clamp for a hose in order to hold it on the end. And the trick is you got to make sure it's far forward so it's nowhere near the oxygen port on the inlet. Now, there's another urban myth. We all know that you can plastic weld using zip ties. You specifically want the zip ties that have nice, flexing, rubbery type capabilities. You don't want the ones that feel like plastic stuff that's going to snap. So in this case, I've got Shore-Builts, which are from AutoZone. Just about any decent zip tie is going to work. And that's the key here, is decent. The other thing is there is a urban myth that you can use Folgers cans lids. They're number 4 plastic, and they are the type of plastic that you can melt down and reform at about 350 degrees. So I actually am betting this will work. So what I've done is I've taken a Folgers can lid on the side here, and I have cut it into strips. And what I ended up doing was I took a pair of these shears, and I went around and around and around and around and around, so that I ended up with basically a spool of soldering plastic. So we're going to try that also and see how that works. The other myth that I've seen in a couple of different places is supposedly stick-on drywall tape you can use over a patch area, and you coat over the top of it with 5-ton epoxy. So we're going to try that also in a couple of spots. We're going to see what happens here. So, let me move the camera so that you can see one of the areas that I'm going to work on right off the bat. Word of advice when you're dealing with this, make sure that you're paying attention to where the flame is pointed, because it is going to burn you and it will light up and char the area on the inside of plastic. If you're working on the outside round edge, it shoots over the top. If you're working on an inner edge, it shoots into the plastic, and you got to pay attention. Also, I don't usually wear aprons. This is an Armor Gear apron. I'll post a link down below. As you can see, this one is already got stains and stuff on it. I've been using it for about a month now. I don't promote anything on the channel unless it's something that I actually actively have used and tried out and enjoy. So take a look at these. They're actually made here in the United States. And tell George I sent you, because he's a really nice guy, and these are really nice. They're very solid, rugged. They're not made for metal work, but if you've ever had dripping plastic get onto you, trust me, it is way better to end up getting the dripping plastic onto an apron than it is to end up getting it on your open skin. Pay attention. Okay, enough with the OSHA talk. Let's get going. Alright, so the other thing I wanted to show you was that you can use a flathead screwdriver to do this. What you want to do is get your piece nice and aligned where you want to be able to tack it in. We've got this spot here that's easy to get to. And then you just want to heat it up. And that's the other reason why I like this little metal piece. It lets me heat up the screwdriver in it. And you got to get the tip to the point it's kind of semi-glowing. This is really easier to do if you're in low light. So I've got it just starting to semi-get hot and glow. And we're going to come in here and just gently go over this. And the screwdriver is nice for if you're in an area where you really don't want it to show much and you want to fill in from behind. Right there. Now I can let it go and we can go do the bigger areas. Before, so we're gonna try it. There's a piece of Folgers right there. You can see the lid. We're gonna try and set this in. We've got a crack going through there. We've got the big giant chunk that's missing. And we're gonna see if we can just kind of seal that in place in order to patch it. I'm not out to look pretty, just looking to go and patch it up. Alright, so while we're here, we're going to address the 5-ton epoxy myth. And basically, the 5-ton epoxy myth is that if you take fiberglass drywall tape like this, the self-sticking stuff, and you pull some out, so we've got an area like that, and you cut it off, and you lay that in over the top, like so. So right now we're covering a crack going this way, a crack going this way, a crack going down through all of this. And then, in theory, you should be able to take your 5-ton epoxy make a bunch of it, and slather it on there and have it seal it up. And to clarify, I've been saying 5-ton, I've got 5-minute epoxy here, and I'll post a link down below in case you're interested. So I've got this mixed up. Now, let's see how easily this spreads. I got a piece of Folgers can off to the side here to use as a spatula, but we've got one of these stir sticks. And we're going to set it right there. Well, that actually spreads pretty easy. So I guess what we're going to do to try this is we're just going to slather it in with the tape over the top of everything and try and do the areas off to the side that don't have plastic weld to see how well they hold up. If I do this area here, later on I can pull on it and see if it actually stays. So I'm going to mix up a little bit more off camera and put it through here a little bit more and then go from there. Hi, so this is what's left of our Folgers can lid that we started with. And all of this is Folgers can, just like I said at the beginning of the video. So I'll have Jesse come up and we'll take a look here. We've got the part that fractured out here. We came down. This is actually all Folgers can lid here. This is an entire chunk of Folgers can to fill it in. We've got the fracture down here, the fracture here. We fractured it over here as well. We broke it across there. And this was the 3 or 4 pieces that we had to weld together. I apparently missed a crack here, but we can do that while it's on the machine. And where we shattered out the screw mount here. So there we go. You can plastic weld with a Folgers can lid and put your machine back together if you crash it. Have fun.